In .NET 6, a top-level statement was introduced, which is a mechanism that allows us to run a project written in C# without the need to explicitly define a static main method, which is the entry point of the program. Instead, we can simplify the code by directly implementing the main method. These two approaches will yield exactly the same result. Additionally, besides the file that defines the top-level statement, to run such a file or program, we first had to associate it with a project file, which contained the project's methods, such as the framework version, dependencies on other projects, or NuGet packages. This approach changed in .NET 10, where we can simply run a file with a file.cs extension without needing to define a project file. So, to do this, to run such a file, just open the terminal and type the command .NET run, followed by the name of the file with the file.cs extension. As we can see now, the project has been built and the console prompts us for our name. So, I may enter here the value test, and of course the result returns back to the console of this program. For certainty, let me show you that I don't have any project file here, and it is only this file with a .cs extension. Now, you might be wondering how you would be able to add dependencies, for example, to NuGet packages, since there is no project file here. To do this, you just need to use the new instruction, #:package followed by the package name. In this case, let's add, for example, Newtonsoft.json to serialize a specific object, and then we will print this object to the console. So, after using the package, we obviously need to include the appropriate using statement, and then we would be able to use the package by calling methods, classes that are available in it. So again, if I execute the same command in the terminal this time, that is .NET run with the name of our .cs file, we will shortly see the result in the console, which utilized the Newtonsoft.json package to serialize our person object. Here, we still don't have any project files. Everything is defined as a single file with a .cs extension. Now the next question is, which might arise, is how and whether we can create projects like a web API without defining the project file. For example, having such a simple file using minimal web API, in fact, without any additional declaration, if I execute the same command here, that is .NET run with the name of this file, we will obviously get an error, since the web application class cannot be found, because we did not specify in any way that in this file or in this project, so to speak, we want to use the web SDK. To do this, we need to first add the appropriate declaration, this time #SDK, followed by the SDK name we want to use. Since it is a web application, we will specify microsoft.net.sdk.web. Now, after restarting the .NET run command with the same file, as you can see, our simple web API is now hosted on localhost at port 5000. For certainty, I will open this in the browser at the path weather forecast, and as we can see, we receive a result returned from this web API written in the file with a .cs extension without the need to define a project file. In the same way, I could create an MVC application, or a Razor app, by appropriately adding a declaration for the SDK, or for specific packages that I would like to use in a particular project. So now the next question might arise, is .NET, or even C# itself, suddenly a scripting language, since in no way is there an association with a project file for our .cs file? The answer is quite simple. Those project files are still created directly by the compiler, and they are hidden. On Windows, in the folder localtemp.net run file, and it is here that we have specific files that were created based on a specific C# file. So, in fact, everything is still compiled and still runs in the same way, except that the compiler itself and the .NET runtime do this behind the scenes, not specifically in the same folder where we have our source file. Of course, this approach will not be an ideal solution for production solutions, but for learning C# or for simple scripts that we could run through an agent on which the .NET environment is already installed, there are certainly potential uses of this capability offered by .NET 10. I will also add that through the .NET CLI, we now have the option to convert a file into a standard project using the command .NET project convert, along with the path to our file with a .cs extension. And after a moment, as we can see, the file itself has been removed, and instead we have a folder which contains the same file, but now it is adapted to a standard solution or to a standard .NET project. As we can see, the previous declaration #SDK from this file has disappeared, and instead we have a standard file with a .cs project extension, and it is here that it specifies which SDK we want to use in this program. And moreover, all NuGet packages that we would again define in this file using #package would be moved to the appropriate section in this project file with the .cs project extension.